Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Anubis here with a brand new sport video for you guys today, and welcome to my channel. Do all the things the algorithm likes. I'm gonna probably stop saying that and just have a little graphic pop up instead of just repeating it at the end of the video, beginning of the video. Whatever, it's not about that. Today we're making a video about US Women's Soccer, rocking our US Women's Soccer World Championship shirt. And you get one that's updated to have like 2019. We have the one from 2015. But yeah, I want to talk about Vlatko. We're going to talk about Vlatko in this video. And for those who aren't going to be new to the channel, I do a video here on YouTube once a week to talk about sports. Usually it would be a video with multiple sports or just one sport once a week. This is like my fourth channel, so I don't put as much content on the channel as I do like my main channel. I have links in the box below for all of my main channel stuff in the link tree, as well as my Twitch streams. So if you want to follow me on Twitch while I play some video games, you can do that as well. But today's video, Vlatko. We're going to talk about Vlatko. We're going to talk about, what's going to happen with Vlatko, who will be a good replacement in my opinion, only my opinion. I will mention some other opinions as well. And that's what we might have some gameplay in here of, from FIFA 2023 of the Women's World Cup that I took part in because, I love soccer. But anyways, let's get into the video. So the first thing that should be pointed out and should be noted when it comes down to this situation, when it comes to the situation of the U.S. Women's National Team and Vlatko, is Vlatko has not been fired yet. At the time of recording this video, it is August 9, 2023. Vlatko still has his job. It's just mostly speculated by pretty much the entire universe and multiverse that Vlatko is going to lose his job when it comes to how before, not even just like how poor the performance was in this tournament, but just generally during his time with the U.S. national team has kind of not been great. There's been, kind of some questionable tactics, a lot of questionable decisions when it comes to who he selected. I remember like a year or two ago, this was back when Christian Press first got her knee injury, and he had came out and said she wasn't going to be picked even before her injury, and people were like, excuse you? She's definitely one of the best forwards in the sport. You're saying you wouldn't pick her anyways. It's like, so there's always like this, there's some questionable things when it comes to Vlatko, and when it comes to this turn in particular, it was always about, he never really changed up the formation of the team, never tried new things out when it came to the formation. His lineups were never, great, and he kind of always left people on the bench who potentially should have been starting. Like, we didn't see Alana Cook at all during the World Cup, and so it's like, excuse you, she's one of the best center backs in the NWSL. Why is she not getting any play time? And people were like, well, he wanted to give play time to Julie Ertz, but he also didn't want to take Sully out because they play the same position, so it's easier to just throw her, in the center back spot. Then you have that selection of Julie Ertz. It's like, well, Julie Ertz came off an injury and she's up there in age. No offense, Julie Ertz, love her. So why is she getting selected instead of this person, or because of that person, or this? There's always that discussion when it comes to selections where it's like, why wasn't this person picked? Ashley Hatch, for example, people were confused, like, how come Ashley Hatch wasn't picked? How come Taylor Korniak wasn't picked? She probably would have been very, very useful in a lot of those crosses that kind of didn't turn into anything during some of those games. So when it comes to Vlatko, people question his substitutions. Like, okay, how come we don't do one sub this entire freaking game? How come you're waiting till the last 2 minutes of a game stoppage time to do your next 2 subs or whatever? So Vlatko has always been questioned by the fan base pretty much the entire time he's been there. And now the thought process is, even though he hasn't been fired yet, who is going to replace Vlatko? Who will people have out there who will be thrown in? So one of the things that we've seen people like Leslie Lawless give his opinion on who should replace Vlatko. He had people like Sonia Bastior, who's like the coach of Lyon's women's team. He brought up the usual person who everyone brings up whenever there's a discussion about coaching, period, which is Jill Ellis. Everyone, like, she's on my list too. Everyone, when there's a free job out there for women's soccer, everyone always thinks of Jill Ellis. Lawless also had, everyone kind of hates Lexi Lawless. Just mentioning who he has on his list for replacements. He also had the head coach from Australia. Got the person's name. I think it was like Tony Gustafson. That was his last name's Gustafson, but I don't remember his first name. Could be wrong about that. And he also had Lauren Harvey, which is on my list. Emma Hayes from Chelsea. Mark Parsons. Sorry if I pronounce people's names wrong. A lot of these names are off the top of my head. That he's over in Washington. And he also said Casey Stoney. So for me personally, I want to talk about just some select names that I think will be good replacements. Obviously, when it comes to Jill Ellis is currently working for San Diego Wave. She's not the head coach of the Wave. That's who I then call Drip Stoney because her outfits are always on point. But Casey Stoney's over there being the coach of the Wave. But Jill Ellis, the reason why her name comes up so much is because she has a lot of success with the national team, including winning back-to-back World Cups in 2015 and in 2019. And she also has a very, very good win record, and she's just generally someone who a lot of the women on the team like. She's a very enjoyable person. If you want to watch her, you'll talk about the team itself. Christian Press and Tobin Keefe have a I don't want to call it a podcast, but it's basically a podcast on their YouTube channel. I have a link in this box below. The first episode has Jill Ellis, and they're reminiscing about their time together on the team because she was the coach with Press and Keith were on the team. And you will basically see and read the vibes there on why people love Jill Ellis so much and why people kind of like want her to come back, even though she kind of like is out of the coaching game for the most part. But when it comes to coaching in general, when it comes to sports in general, there is a never say never mentality where it's like it's possible, anything can happen. It's not like she's like not thinking of it, because a coach is a coach. They're going to consider it here and there. And then there's Laura Harvey. Laura Harvey is the coach of the OL Reign. Laura Harvey was actually the top pick before Vlatko. When it came down to who was going to replace Jill Ellis as the coach of the team, Vlatko and Laura Harvey were like the top two candidates, and Vlatko ended up getting that spot. Laura Harvey actually commented recently on the thought and the ideas of her being the coach of the U.S. national team, and I'll put what she said on the screen so you guys can read it. So like one of the questions she was asked, and I'll also read it to you. So if you don't want to read it yourself, I'll read as well. She was asked on whether she's interested in a U.S. job and whether she would criticize any of Vlatko's tactics. The first thing here is understand this is an active coach. An active coach is not going to throw shade at another coach because you don't want to trash your colleagues. So I seen this on Twitter that a lot of people were talking about how come she thinks Vlatko, isn't a terrible coach like everyone else does. You're not going to see coaches criticize other coaches. This isn't Twitter. Like a lot of fans, you have to understand that you are a fan. You're going to speak negatively about players, about coaches, because you have no stake in the matter. But it's bad taste and it's not professional for people who are actually involved in the sport to throw shade at their colleagues. So anyways, her response: no, not at all. I haven't got any critique about him. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a phenomenal human being. I was so privileged to work with him. And my focus right now is the Reign. We're in the middle of a season. We put ourselves in a really good position in both competitions that we're in. And right now, my focus is solely on the Reign. So here's what Laura Harvey had to say on knowing that her name will be in the headlines to replace Vlatko. It's not just that she was in the runnings before, but it's also because Laura Harvey is an amazing coach. The OL Reign is one of the best teams in the NWSL. She has a lot of star players who all play for the women's national team and play for national teams of other teams, and they all love her. They all want to keep playing for her. She actually just signed an extension with the OL Reign, so there's that as well. Or would she be willing to both coach the U.S. national team and Reign at the exact same time, or was it on her plate? But anyways, her response: look, I've lived it before. I lived this 4 years ago. I'm very mindful that this is my priority. This job is my priority. I love it here. That's no secret. I've committed to the future of this club. I think I probably will delete all my social media for a little bit just to try and keep myself on track. And look, I get it. I actually give our team and players credit if my name is anywhere near anything, because that just shows the performance that our group's been putting in. But my priority is the Reign. That sentence right there tells you how much she cares about her players, or where she's giving them credit for her name being present, not herself. She's not being like, yeah, I'm a good coach. She's like, no, the players are so good that they make me look good. And, she's a good coach. I've not shied away from it. I've said it publicly. I enjoyed my time at U.S. Soccer. That's no doubt. The U.S. Soccer women's national team is probably the top job in the world, if not the top 3 jobs in the world. That's just reality. And if my name is anywhere near it, then that's an honor. But first and foremost, my priority is the Reign. It's really hard to block it out. There's no doubt about that. I've lived it before, so I've got a little bit of experience with it. So with that in consideration, when it comes to Laura Harvey, I do think she, to me, should be in the top 3. And I know for her, I feel like there's a little bit of thought like, don't even bother considering me if you're not going to pick me, because she doesn't want to go through it again. She kept mentioning I went through it 4 years ago, so she kind of might don't want to have her hopes up thinking that, okay, I'm going to get this job, I'm going to get this job, and then she doesn't get it. So I'll put her in my top 3. I think she will be a phenomenal coach for the U.S. national team. I think it would help out, especially with all the young players we have. And again, a lot of these players she has experience with herself, not only just playing against them, but a lot of them play for the OL Reign. And then there's Casey Stoney, aka Drip Stoney, I like to call her, because her outfits are always looking nice. Casey Stoney is the current coach of the San Diego Wave, which are a young team who's trying to get there, an expansion team. Stoney is an amazing coach, much like Laura Harvey. There's a lot of good chemistry between her and her players. A lot of her players love her. She's very cool, and she gets off a great vibe when it comes to her press conferences. I think she'll do great with the team. And again, this goes into the whole thought process of a young team who definitely has experience with her, and she's also someone who isn't willing to who's willing to change things up in order to get the win, in order to inspire victory. She has worked with an amazing keeper like Caitlin Sheridan. She also works with Alex Morgan, who's on the team, and there's also people out there like Jayden Shaw who could be looking at being on the national team within the next tournament that comes up, and who has experience with both those people. Casey Stoney. So she would be a good candidate. If I had to rank it, I think I would put Laura Harvey at the #1 spot on if you can get her, get her. And then I'll have Stoney after that. Jill Ellis, she's on my top 5 for who we should get. But I have her in that position of call her and see if she's interested. If she's not, then you that's when you start looking at Laura Harvey and Casey Stoney, and even looking at anyone else. Then there's Pia Sundhage, which, just like Jill Ellis, is someone who has experience with the team. Pia Sundhage, she won 2 Olympic gold medals in 2007, 2012, and got a silver medal in 2010 with the U.S. national team, where we lost to Japan in penalties, much like how we lost to Sweden in penalties in the World Cup. So she has experience with the team. A lot of people are like, okay, what about her? What about her? Brazil's where she's at now, and Brazil just had a massive exit, almost just as shocking as the U.S. losing. Brazil losing was incredibly shocking. They're tilted with talent. So it's like, what about her? I kind of put her in the same category as Jill Ellis, where it's like you just make the phone call just to see, and then you move on from there. I think I will wait to give Pia Sundhage a call. I think if I was the federation, if I was the president of U.S. Soccer, I would call Jill Ellis, see if she's interested. If she says no, then I make the call to Laura Harvey, and make the call to Casey Stoney and see what their interest is, and if they're up for it. If they're not interested, then you make phone calls to other people like Serena Wegman from England, is it Hervey? I don't know. Again, I'm pronouncing names wrong, but Renard from France. You make these calls after you make the calls to people who you really want to get, and if none of those people are interested, I would say you kind of call Pia. Just because I feel like she should be the last one you try before you do anything else, because it's just you don't really want to go back to the last coach you had, but you do kind of want to see if they're interested, if that makes sense. But anyways, that's all I have for today's video. Just want to talk about who could be your replacement for Vlatko, what my takes are on who could replace him, and just in general what the vibe is for me when it comes to looking around at the reactions to Vlatko, his situation, and the team itself. I do want to do a video in the future about the potential future of the team, and talk about how I feel about potential players who could slide in and players who didn't make it to the World Cup team. I do think generally there's a lot of fans who are kind of jaded or upset out the gate because they didn't like that their favorite player got left off. Again, like Ashley Hatch got left off, Corniak got left off. People are upset that older players who are kind of past their prime did get picked, and it was kind of the vibe is they got picked because this is their last hurrah, like this is their last time they're going to be in the World Cup. So let's let them get their last dance. Like Julie Ertz is her last one. Rapinoe, her last one. We didn't see Krieger get picked, but Krieger is retiring from the NWSL at the end of the season, so that's someone who could have been picked, who might have been viewed in the exact same way. So there's a number of that as well. And also, I'm thinking about it. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to, but I kind of also want to do a video about the socio-political backlash team has gotten when it comes to Rapinoe and a lot of people who feels like they went woke and things like that. I'm not sure if I'll do it, but I kind of want to. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave any thoughts down in the comments below. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Being your boy Nubis, I'm out of here. Deuces.